We have another Ringside report. This time it is about My Rise. Not only do we have a Ringside report, we actually have the first 23 minutes of gameplay for the My Rise in WWE 2K26 over on IGN as well. And today I want to watch both of them so we could see what My Rise is going to be all about in WWE 2K26 together. There was a little article that went out not too long ago about what we can expect within My Rise, so I'm excited to see what the Ringside report is about in the 23 minutes of gameplay. Now, if you don't want spoilers for anything My Rise, I understand. So here is your warning now that there are going to be spoilers for My Rise. If you just want to see the Ringside report, totally fine. I'll talk about that and then go into the My Rise gameplay. So let's just get right into this. All right, let's jump right into this.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I'm here today not as your oracle, nor your wise man, nor even your advocate. I'm here today
As a younger
friend.
Brock Lesnar.
And as a friend, I must caution you. You think the comeback in My Rise will be easy? Wrong answer.
Is that a light tube?
After a 2-year absence from the WWE, the Archetype makes their long-awaited comeback. But fate is cruel, and destiny is not without irony. Because your comeback
Okay,
ends in
Braun Breaker and
disaster
Jordan
at the
Grace are the bad
hands
guys.
Of one of my unstoppable champions, Braun Breaker or Jordan Grace. The choice is in your hands. From there, the real comeback story begins. Do you fight your way to the top with hard work and integrity? Or do you turn your back on the WWE Universe, embracing power and deception and shortcuts to reclaim your throne?
I am back, and I am just getting started!
In My Rise, victory is not
The
the
voice
end
actor
of
sounded
your
familiar.
story. Oh, no. Because if somehow you manage to defeat my client and capture their championship, then you have a decision to make. A decision that may very well change the course of your career and WWE history.
Ooh, Burn Fiend. Punker.
So, how will you seize your moment and create your story? WWE 2K26, the show never stops.
That was a lot to take in those 2 minutes. They showed a lot there. I'm not going to lie. Now, there was an article that went on. Now, there was an article that came out just at the time of recording, like a day ago. And it did give some details into the My Rise, and they did go into them here. Obviously, we can see through here.
Long-awaited comeback. But
It is a comeback story. You are coming back to the WWE. And Jordan Grace and Braun Breaker are the main bad guys, and they are managed by Paul Heyman, which is very interesting because in the article, actually, hold on. Can we talk about this? Looks like poopy doopy. Why is it not in focus? And that's not the quality of my video, because this one looks fine. So that's interesting. It's interesting that they let that slide. It looks like you could do press conferences, which is kind of cool. Like the little press conference, you have the championship, so you looks like you can win the United States Championship. These are rewards. Look at Burned Fiend, bro. Look how sick he looks. Look at him. Look at it. Oh my God, amazing. So these are all the rewards that you can unlock from there. At least some of the rewards. Okay, so they keep it pretty vague, which is fine because, you know, you don't want to spoil the story. It makes me wonder how long the story is because, as Paul Heyman says here, if you can defeat my champion, it changes everything. And they did say in the article that you will be able to move on in this story. So like the story's not just going to finish. There's stuff after it that works like a new game plus. So, and I think they're going to talk about that in the IGN video, I'm sure. So why don't we just head right over to that and see what's going on with that as well. I skipped ahead a tiny bit because they were showing some footage for WWE and I'm not too sure, you know, copyright. I wasn't trying to, you know, test the waters with that one. Skipped ahead like 30 seconds. So let's see what Sean Conway has to talk about.
I started working on my career in My Rise way back in 2K19. And
The
it's
menu
so
looks pretty
awesome to
cool.
finally see this come to life.
Like
Everybody
obviously
loves
it's
it.
very similar to the old, like the menu that from the other game, but like the little, these things with like the game modes, I think these look a lot cooler.
The comeback story.
There's been so many epic comebacks over the years in wrestling, and it really makes for a great setup for a My Rise story. Hey, let's take a look at this year's intro video.
Oh, so are we starting after the Raw after Mania? That makes sense, especially for a comeback. I really like the idea of a comeback, man. This is going to be really fun. I'm already thinking of my character, what I want them to look like for both runs.
Tonight will be no different as we see the long-awaited return of the archetype thrust right back into the championship spotlight. The archetype wants a shot at my client's championship. This is going to be the shortest comeback in WWE history. The archetype returns.
I'm very curious to how people. Oh, this is cool. The little.
Let's go. The archetype
Sick.
is
That was
back.
a sick intro.
Before we move forward, there are going to be some minor spoilers ahead, so now you know.
This year's My Rise is a return to two separate men's and women's division experiences after we had the 2K25 co-story of Mutiny. Jordan Grace and Braun Breaker are our main antagonists as Paul Heyman's champions. And you can choose the women's division or the men's division. Today, we're going to be previewing the women's division.
All right. And just so everybody knows, those divisions do have separate rewards, so it's always worth playing both.
Okay.
Custom casual
It's good to know
attire
that
is back,
everything's
as
gonna
we can
have
see here, along with some really
separate
cool
rewards.
two-tone hair. That's a new feature in CAS. Looks great. The Archetypes feed is blowing up for their big return. You might notice this is a new backstage. We actually have 3 different backstages. We're trying to replicate, how it feels touring around in WWE. You don't always see the same backstage on a weekly basis.
Okay, so they're actually
There's
trying to make
Adam
it feel a
Pearce,
little
who
bit
plays a key role in
more
this year's
unique
story, not
when
only
you're
as the Raw
backstage.
GM, but also as a friend and moral compass for the player. That's right, for the first time since 2K22, there are major fan favorite and rule breaker decision points and story branches.
Oh, okay,
Adam,
so
of course, will try to steer the player to do the right thing whenever possible.
So many wrestling games continue to explore what it means to be with the fans or not, and we're continuing that tradition and finding new ground.
This is a cool decision point here. It's not going to drastically alter your story, but the player gets to decide, where have I been for 2 years? Was I off in Hollywood, making movies? Was I spending time with my family? Was I out with an injury that I was rehabbing? Today we're going to make the choice that the player was off in Hollywood.
And people will remember.
Yeah, you're going to hear other characters react to that decision throughout the entire story.
Not an easy first match.
okay, so it definitely seems like decisions are going to make a difference. Obviously, they said that the heel and face decisions are going to impact the story in this year as well. If you're somebody who's curious about all like what happens if you do something face or heel, you'll probably play through this not just a couple times, but quite a few times just to see all the options. I'm somebody who likes to see all the options. I'm pretty curious about that. But obviously, I understand that a lot of people don't like doing that. But for me personally, I could see myself going back through a couple times just to see how different things are if you do something face or heels.
Adam was great on VO, by the way, as
If
always.
it were up to me, I would have given you a warm-up. I'm pulling for you. But Jordan Grace, she's the real deal.
And here's our cover star, CM Punk, who played a major part in last year's Mutiny story.
What's it been? 10, 12 years?
Something like that.
CM Punk had a
Good to
smaller
see you,
cameo
Punk.
role in this year's My
Been on
Rise.
quite the run
We
since
kind of
you
wanted to
came
give him a
back to
break
WWE.
after the 3 to 4 hours of voiceover he
Now
did
it's
on
your turn.
2K25.
I saw they put you right
I'm
back
mostly
in the title
kidding,
picture
Nathan, but
against
we do
Jordan
actually
Grace and
take
my
that
old
into
buddy
consideration each year.
Must be nice.
If a
Took me
superstar has a
over a
major
year after I
role,
returned to even
we don't
sniff a
often
title
want to go
shot.
back to them necessarily the
Well,
next year just to give them a
situations.
break, give the
Unlike
story a
you, I
break and
wasn't
freshen
sitting
things
home
up.
for 10 years
There's so
that's
many
fair.
factors that
with
go
my
into
dog.
making this story mode
It wasn't
every
just
year.
hockey. We also found time to watch that movie you starred in as, what was it? Cop number 6?
It was actually
And there you see
caught
CM
with
Punk
earrings.
commenting on the player's
In any
Hollywood
event,
background.
I
There's
have a
some
feeling
fun
you'll pick
banter
up
about
right where you left off.
being a cop in a
Once that
movie, which is
archetype
funny
music
because
hits,
CM
I
Punk
see you
has
out there with your
had
old
some
familiar
nice
look.
roles
They'll
lately
be chanting your name and
playing
you'll
a
be
cop,
more than
so it's
ready to
kind of
take care
art
of
imitating
business.
life there.
Why change what always works?
Love to see it.
right?
Change can be good. Not saying you need to start a mutiny or anything, but at the same time, you don't want to rely on old habits too much.
And there he
Got it.
says, well, you don't need to start a
not one of
mutiny.
your
That's just a
NXT
fun little
kids,
Easter
right?
egg reference to
I can
last year's
handle
mutiny
it.
story.
Yeah. Good luck out there.
So it seems like the mutiny story
Let's
is
talk
not
to
like
the
canon
Oracle
in this
himself,
universe.
Paul
It's
Heyman.
different because sometimes they
How's
have the
the
little
last recording
callbacks, like Becky Lynch always referring to her stuff getting stolen from like the last 3 games. So Interesting, interesting.
For probably the better part of 3 to 4 hours. He's a major part of this year's story. We're going to find out here, Nathan, a key story point that before the player left WWE on their 2-year hiatus, Heyman offered them the chance to be the next Paul Heyman client, and they actually turned him down. So that's a big reason that Heyman is going to be a thorn in the player's side throughout this year's story.
Heyman will not forget.
Yeah, Paul had a smaller role back in 2K20's My Career. For anyone who remembered that, he was sort of the gatekeeper and the player finding The Undertaker. But this is his biggest role yet in a My Career or My Rise. Again, I worked with Paul going on 20 years ago now, back in WWE on the creative team when he was the lead writer of SmackDown. And I think that really helped in our recording process this year. I think there was a level of trust there with the material we had written for him.
Okay.
And like I said, Paul knocked it out of the park. He did a great job. He's definitely one of the
So
the
Paul
major
is definitely
stars,
going
if not the
to.
major
Paul is
star
definitely
of this
playing a
year's
huge,
My
huge
Rise.
part this year.
And there you see Paul referencing, again, why you were gone from WWE. He's ripping on the fact that you were off in Hollywood in some garbage action sequel where you were the first schmuck to die.
In the know.
You might notice here, too, the gestures that Paul Heyman is doing. These were specific animations we shot for Heyman at MoCap this year, since he moves in such a unique way. I feel little touches like that really go a long way in helping our story come to life.
Yeah, definitely.
Not just this mode as well.
Wow,
Our
he said the same
character
thing as
team, our
me.
audio team, everybody works hard to make that likeness as close as we can get.
And that's not a prediction.
You know, having him move around and stuff definitely makes it feel better. If he was just standing there, if it wouldn't feel like Paul
Let's go take
Heyman.
on
But Paul
Jordan
Heyman is
Grace.
very animated when he is backstage
Oh,
talking
hey,
to
those
people.
custom Trons. Let's go.
Yeah, the archetype has returned.
Looks like we have a new UI element there.
Oh yeah, look
What
at
does
that
do,
UI.
Sean?
Oh, that's a really cool new thing that I've been
No,
playing
that-
around
oh
with.
yeah, hamming up to the
You get
crowd
to
and
do
stuff.
some self-expression on your way to the ring. You can have pyro that erupts on the stage. You can have pyro in the ring. You can do some fan favorite and rule breaker mannerisms on your way. It's a really fun, interactive way to mix up your typical entrance.
We continue to try to make entrances something great to watch, but also something fun to interact with.
The gear kind of goes hard. I like the
And I
A.
don't want everyone to panic out there. You will notice the player is wearing special archetype gear with an archetype entrance and archetype trons, music, etc. But that's only going to be for this match. Where the story's headed is the player can't keep doing the same thing if they want to find success on their comeback. They need to reinvent themselves. They need to come out with new gear, new music, new entrance, new
Okay.
trons. But don't worry, this isn't a redo of the lock. This is only going to be for one match.
We don't want to lock you into any persona.
I mean, I don't
By
hate.
the way,
I
you
don't
might be
hate the
hearing
logo.
Booker T and Wade Barrett for the first time, who are new additions to
I
our
don't hate the
commentary
logo.
team for the entire
Like the gear is
game.
very.
It's just really cool
bland,
to
but,
hear
like,
some new
I
voices
like the
and
logo. I
flavor
don't know.
across our story. They did a great job this year.
You know, it can be tempting to skip entrances after the first few times you watch one, but in My Rise, we actually really reward players if they can hang around and watch the whole thing, which is a lot easier to do now with all these awesome interactive entrance features.
That's right, Nathan. We have scripted commentary.
God,
for
Jordan
all of
Grace
our
looks
matches in My Rise,
incredible this year,
whether
dude.
that
What
be
the
entrances,
fuck?
Match start commentary,
Holy.
victory, losses. Really pay attention
Her model
to
looks
those lines
so
'cause
good.
There's some fun Easter eggs there.
Has no answer for that.
I just want to say how cool it is that we're featuring Jordan Grace, by the way. Like, she's had quite the rise, pun intended, as of late. We had the pleasure of working with Jordan. She actually did mocap
Looks incredible.
for 2K25 for the Mutiny story. And, you know, just a year later, now she's the featured
Bam!
rival in the
Big
women's
clothesline.
division story. It's just really cool to see her
Ooh.
success.
Springboard.
So we wanted to have the
Moonsault.
archetype looking strong here at the start of the match, but that's quickly going to take a turn, as you're about to see.
Of course, I mean, Jordan's a juggernaut.
Jordan no selling.
Yeah, she was great for a lot of reasons, but when it came time to figure out what to do for this scene, she has so many cool moves to utilize. She made our jobs a lot easier.
Yeah, the inverted tilt-a-whirl goes crazy.
So the archetype.
Wow, we got
fails in their
fucking
comeback
squashed.
match. And this, of course, will set the story in motion for their big comeback.
Damn, we got squashed.
This was not the comeback the archetype had hoped for, to say the least.
Paul's always got to rub it in.
So when we were writing this scene, we wanted a big exclamation point at the end, and you're about to see it right here.
Oh
So it's
shit.
not only that the player just lost the match.
We saw that in
we
the,
took a huge gorilla press to the outside.
the Ringside report.
We wanted to end the scene with them
Just
really
chucks
in
him.
rough shape down at the ground, looking up to Heyman and his champion Jordan Grace. That's all intentional. The positioning of the characters here and the camera angles. really trying to show that the player has a long road ahead of them if they truly want to make this comeback succeed.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to fall into the hole to get out of it.
True. Fair enough.
So new this year, we have press conferences, which is a really cool part of this year's mode. It's a great opportunity for the player to express themselves via choices. There were a lot of memorable moments, of course, this past year with press conferences in WWE. If you think about John Cena on his farewell tour when he, put R-Truth through the table. So that's something we wanted to capture in this year's My Rise. So what you're seeing here are what we call flavor choices on My Rise. They don't really necessarily branch your story one way or the other, but in this instance, it's a way for the user to start to explore whether they want to be a fan favorite or a rule breaker wrestler on their My Rise story.
A little bit of role play.
Foreshadowing the big choice at the end of this scene where they will make that branching decision. It's a good opportunity for the user to sort of explore which direction they want to go, but not necessarily have to commit right in the moment.
Oh, here we go.
Those big dramatic moments in this year's My Rise are some of my favorite parts of the mode. I think in games especially, people get caught up in just going down the morally good route, or in this case, the for the fans route, but part of wrestling is exploring that darker side. I mean, look what happened when Cena did it.
I think
And
I
in this
always
year's My
pick
Rise
the heel
especially,
ones in my
those
first
rule
run.
breaker branches are awesome.
I mean, that says a lot about me, but I usually pick the heel options in these My Rise.
Champion? They say write what you know, so I assume they've expanded their waistline eating a lot of fast food. Congrats on that achievement.
Just like those Paul Heyman ones I mentioned earlier, we shot all new press conference gestures for the player to be seated in this position.
Yeah, surprisingly, sitting down in a video game is not easy to do, contrary to popular belief.
With how your
Really?
night turned out,
That's
are
actually
you
interesting.
Going to continue your comeback, or was this just a one-time appearance and you'll be headed back to Hollywood?
So here's our first
Ooh.
major fan favorite or rule breaker decision branch. And I just want to mention, today we're going to explore the start of the rule breaker storyline, but you're not locked into this decision. You will have the opportunity throughout the story to change alignment. You could either play the story entirely as a fan favorite, you could play as a rule breaker, or you could flip-flop back and forth. It's up to you.
Okay.
When I'm playing My Rise, I like to kind of go hard and fast on one.
I do like that you'll be able to flip back and forth. I wonder how like cohesive it will be and how much sense it would make, like how they plan that out. Because like if it's like so drastic, if you know what I'm saying, like it could just feel weird if you're going from to and fro, like all the options, how different they would be. I do like the idea of being able to flip back and forth depending on, how you want to play it. If you just want to be all heel, understandable. You want to be all face, understandable. Some people like to, skate the line. So it'd be very interesting to say the least.
Lane, but to do kind of a turn at the end, because characters realize the consistency and continuity of your character. They respond to it, and it makes it feel alive, like they've been paying attention to me the whole time.
Okay,
Yeah, and I
interesting.
just want to emphasize the fan favorite and rule breaker paths are drastically different. You're going to get completely different storylines, unlockables. So I would encourage everyone to play both paths between men's and women's. Really, you can get a lot of replayability this year.
Definitely. You may even see some familiar faces.
In my life, try to tear me down so they can feel better about their miserable lives. So no, this comeback isn't over. It's just getting started. And I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get back to the top and take back what's mine. And if you don't like that, you can go to hell.
Damn.
Ladies and
From the hip. Shoot him from the hip.
Archetype.
The archetype
so
crazy.
If we had chosen fan favorite, we would not walk out and slap the microphone over. That's the level of detail we're talking about and unique content that you get based on your decisions.
I really
Story
like
might
the
be done with
archetype gear. I'm
gear.
sorry. It
Using
looks
the
cool.
Create suite, I mean, you can really
I'm a
go in
sucker
there,
for white and
modify
gold.
it, add some sick textures, colors, changes, and really make that part your own.
So here we are headed down the rule
Oh, is that
breaker
Ava?
path at the Archetypes Wrestling School. And you might notice that's Ava Moreno returning to My Rise.
Ava.
It's really fun that we get to bring back these characters from time to time. On the men's story, you're going to encounter Hector Flores in a similar role. Nathan, I think this is the first time we've had a player character have their own wrestling school as well, right?
I think you're right, and not only that.
It's
players
so
will
cool that we
eventually
have
be
a
able to
wrestling
unlock
school.
this
That's so
arena and
sick.
Use it for whatever they want.
Yeah, minor spoiler, there's actually 2 versions of this arena that you'll eventually unlock, but only if you go down this rule breaker path.
Yeah, both branches are really distinct in so many ways.
Come on, let's go.
You'll even notice a championship belt on the background on the wall. That's a championship that the player won in their first run in WWE.
Adrian Buck.
And
I remember
speaking
that
of
guy.
returning familiar faces, you may recognize the voice of our female player character from 2K22. It was great to have Jeannie back.
I
we're
thought
getting
so.
quite the pantheon of my players.
I know
as
she
we
sounded
continue to
familiar
move.
from the. She sounded familiar from the Ringside report.
Like I'm finished! Do I look buried? Huh? I know I haven't been here much, but now that I am, there's going to be some tough lessons. Because I finally realized that to make it to the top, you have to be merciful.
The one thing I've wanted in a My Rise is us to have our own
Ready for that?
faction.
Who's next?
Like
Come on!
a whole
Looks like
faction
most
My
everybody here
Rise
just
would be
couldn't hang.
cool.
I wonder who's left.
No, and you may recognize some of those other characters from GM mode. We tend to borrow GM characters on an annual basis. They really help fill out our world when we need some extra bodies.
That cross-pollination of modes is some of my favorite parts of our
I
game,
know
that
you.
connective tissue that makes it
You
feel
won
like
the tag
one big
bouts with
world.
Justine's niece a few years back.
So here we're going to get into some backstory and find out
Oh,
what
okay,
Moreno's
so-
been up to
That's
since the
right.
last time we saw
Ava
her.
Moreno.
Just Moreno now. The Rock's kid showed up in NXT and they took my first name and
She's
gave
been
it
out
to
of
me
WWE for a
before
few
they
years,
decided not to renew my contract.
and now she's trying to
Follow
fight
that
her way
angle.
back on her own comeback
use it
journey,
one
just
day.
like the
Is
player.
that what you did?
What's
Bottled it
interesting,
up and let it
Nathan,
out on Adrian in
is
there?
the player's alignment.
Looked like they
decision
updated her
actually
looks way
affects
quite a bit.
Moreno's as well.
Did that trigger
If you go down the rule breaker path, Moreno will follow in your footsteps and also become a rule breaker. But if you're on the fan favorite side of things, Moreno
Oh, so is
will be
Ava
a
gonna
fan
actually be
favorite
like
wrestler
part of
as
the
well.
story a lot more?
They're kind of a protege of sorts.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
I
cool.
got pretty good at both.
I really liked Ava in that
So what the
that
hell
my
are you
career
doing here?
with like
Hear me
the,
out.
So what Moreno's
Just
pitching to the
decent,
player
just-
here is like, look, you came out for that first
Justine.
match in your same old archetype gear, same music, same entrance.
Get out of the WWE
Moreno's
bubble.
saying if you're going to
I can
really
help you.
succeed in this comeback, you need to reinvent
You
yourself.
are going to
And so
help
she's
me.
offering to help the player by
outside
going
the
out on the
system.
indie scene for a
I
bit
can get you booked
to really get
anywhere
down
you
and
wanna go.
dirty and
Mexico,
reinvent
Japan,
themselves.
the UK.
And whenever they are
This will be
reinventing
your
themselves,
chance
like
to show the
people should
world
make
the
custom
new
victories,
archetype.
custom entrances.
Unless you'd
It can
rather
be
sit here
daunting,
and
but
dig
it's so
your own
satisfying
grave
when
with
you
that
really make
shovel
your
Heyman
My
and
player
Jordan
your
sent
own.
you. Or
Is it daunting? I always
That
do
shovel may
custom.
come
It takes a
back. I don't
while.
want to spoil
the
anything
woman I saw in this
too
room
big,
today,
but
that's the
you
archetype
can
that
imagine if
I
you're a
want.
rule breaker
That's
and
the woman I'll
someone
follow
delivers
all
a
the way
shovel
to
to
the
you
top.
to try to rub it in your
Okay.
face.
You get
You
one
may
shot
end
at
up
this.
using that to get some
Call your
revenge
promoter
later in your
friends,
journey.
but let them know.
Amen to
It is
that.
WWE
I
after
ain't
all.
cheap.
And look at that, we already unlocked Moreno as a playable character.
Oh, cool.
Nathan, can you talk about what this
Oh,
new Rise
Chosen.
match feature is that we're seeing here?
Absolutely. So this new icon when you're in a hub kind of shows a new reworked feature we have. Last year we had live event matches. This year we've rebranded them as Rise matches, but it's
Okay.
more than just a new word for the same thing. From the ground up, we've really tried to look at that
That
flow
right, Tavish?
and find a way to give players story, but also get them in the ring that much quicker. So this year, engaging with Rise matches is going to be
That's
the
all I'm
mechanism that
looking
gets you
for.
more towards those big story beats. But you'll still find story amongst the Rise matches, whether it's in the UI, who you're fighting, the types of matches you have.
Okay.
The quest givers, everybody's going to pay attention to where you're at in our
All
story.
right, say I'm in.
For example,
What do
here
you
we
have
have
for me?
our Rise match screen. It might seem like
Ooh.
a small detail, but being able to preview your opponent and what they look like before you go in is a big shift from kind of the flow of doing these. As you win matches, you'll get rebooks, which allow you to tell your quest giver, no, I don't want that. And they'll respond by giving you a different match. Definitely use that rebook feature. You might find some
That's
fun
cool.
surprises. In
I do
these
like that
Rise
they're
match
making it
loops.
feel like
You might have noticed in the Rise match kickoff
Something.
screen with Tavish that it said 0 out of 12 stars. And so what that means is we've just arrived in this section of the story, and our goal is to reach 12 or more stars to advance in the main path.
I like her
So you'll see
gear.
those
I like
star
what they did with
counts
their
update as you
gear.
participate in more Rise matches. Many times, you'll have the opportunity to earn more than 12 stars if you want. You can stay and wrestle more matches in this section. It's up to you if you want to advance. Sometimes, however, once you reach that star count, we will advance you in the main path automatically.
okay.
As you're playing Rise matches, all of them give you attribute points. It's kind of a new way for you to get that currency to make yourself that much stronger. So when you're hanging back, at least you're always working towards that goal.
So we talked about earning stars and how that can progress you through the main path story. But another really cool thing is as you're earning these stars,
Buzz.
you can accrue unique rewards.
Yeah, the best part is when you earn a star, the game remembers, and you'll never unearn
Oh,
a star
okay, so
as
that
far
was
as the
CM
screen's
Punk.
concerned. So all the playthroughs you do are constantly making progress towards this rewards track.
So you'll have the opportunity here to earn arenas, characters, my
Oh
faction
wow,
cards,
a lot of stuff.
cast parts, and Nathan, these
Oh,
are
Michael
some
Jr..
characters we've seen before, but
Oh,
also some
Ordinario.
brand new original ones as well.
Yeah, Sean, we have a balance of familiar MyRise characters.
Oh my
We
God,
kinda
the
have our
lock.
wacky characters at the end of the rewards track, but sprinkled throughout the way, we have just generally appealing superstars that every wrestling fan wants.
That was cool, the
look at
lock
this
was there.
retro CM Punk.
Yeah,
Interesting.
the CM Punk retro. I don't think this is a spoiler. We've seen him in some other trailers.
Oh my
But
God,
this
there's
is a
so
really
many
cool tie-in
stars.
to our cover star showcase mode. You won't get.
Oh my
this
God,
character
Fiend
in
is so,
Showcase.
it
This
takes
is
so long.
exclusive
The
to
shield
My Rise
masks.
Star Reward track.
Last
Jeez,
year's
the
Global Star Rewards track was
grind.
kind of a heavy grind.
And
So we tried to
Juggernaut
shorten this a
Grace.
bit while still providing a challenge.
Yeah, there is a
Damn,
scenario,
it still
Nathan.
looks like a
It's up to the
grind.
user.
200
If
stars
They
is-
wanted to hang back and
Been a
just
while. I knew
play
you were
tons and
back
tons of
with
Rise
your
matches in
hand,
this
but
section and really
didn't
make their
expect
characters
they'd be
strong to
sending you
set
out on
themselves up for
recruiting
success the
missions.
rest of the story.
Quite the
They could do
demotion.
that if they want, or you can advance as soon as you've met that star threshold.
Exactly. Are you a speedrunner or a grinder? It's all up to you.
Someone with your reputation could become one of the great gaijin. Another Vader, AJ Styles, or Teddy Funk.
So in this section of the story, we're at an airport. We can go to Mexico, Japan, the UK to compete in Rise matches. And you'll actually, if you hit that
Elantra
reload
Blaze,
button enough,
wow.
or if you just get lucky the first time, you might land on a surprise opponent. Nathan, it's possible to get an extra bonus when you face a surprise opponent, right?
You do. It's one of the few places you can earn a % bonus reward, which sounds like math, and who likes to do math? But getting all
Fuck
those
math.
% bonus rewards is the only way you can get your My Player up to 100
Nice.
OVR. It's quite a grind.
It's cool that
You really
Ava's
have
like
to
our
look around
protege.
for it, but
I
for
like
those who
that.
want a challenge, I suggest getting 100+ OVR run.
All right, we had that amazing match in Japan. We've earned more than 12 stars, and now we see a different icon appear next to Moreno's name.
That icon denotes that the player can move forward if they want. This particular airport
hear
hub
what
is an
Robin
example
Grace
of
said on
where
her
the player
podcast?
gets to choose to
She
move
was saying you
forward
look great
with the
on an
main story
international
or hang
tour.
back and grind Rise
Since
matches.
Jordan, you haven't faced anyone who's been in a WWE ring in ages.
If you somehow manage to make it all the way to the end of the story, there's one major final decision that Paul Heyman will present you with
She's not wrong.
that will unlock
You
a
do
whole
need
other
to mix it
section
up
of the
with
mode.
someone who's been to the show in the last
You'll have the
15
opportunity
minutes.
there to continue competing in
anyone
Rise
in mind?
matches and earning Rise match stars and rewards.
You are
Rise up to the
like
Yeah,
challenge.
like the new
finish
game
mode,
plus.
and find out what happens
I'll
after.
take that chance. You can keep hitting up those international promotions, or you can level up and fight me, getting you one step closer to Jordan.
I've gotten enough frequent flyer miles. You want a funeral? Here it comes.
So as Moreno challenges us to step in the ring, we're going to wrap things up here, but we want to give you one more sneak peek of where this rule breaker storyline might be headed.
Oh, okay. Oh, Maxine. Oh, Maxine, no! We saw this in the Ringside report. Oh, my.
I am back, and I am just getting started!
That's right, we're back and we're just getting started. Thanks again for joining us on IGN's first look at MyRise.
We hope
Okay, interesting stuff, man. I'm not gonna lie, I am pretty excited for this year's MyRise. Let's talk about it a little bit more. Now, of course, that was a lot to take in. There was a lot that they talked about within the 23 minutes of gameplay and a little bit of the Ringside report. But honestly, MyRise is looking like it's going to be pretty cool this year. I am curious of how long the MyRise story is going to be, but it does seem like there's a lot of replayability because of the being heel or face and those having different effects on the story. So you can go back and play through both the women's and men's version of the MyRise story as a heel and as a babyface to see what's different. Obviously, there's a replayability of playing through the men's roster or the women's roster for the MyRise, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. I like the comeback story aspect. I think it's going to be pretty fun. I like that you have like a protege coming with you. It'll have somebody like under your wing, which is pretty awesome. And all the little changes that they're making, like the Rise matches, seem like they could be pretty cool. Obviously, that does look like a lot of a grind still. It looks like you're going to be grinding that out quite a bit. But if they have like some story beats in there, it'll make it feel at least a little bit better. But that stuff is definitely still a grind to do for sure. That does look like it was a lot of a grind. But who knows? We won't know until we get our hands on it really to see how long those take. but I'm pretty excited for it. But let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel. Are you going to be playing the My Rise this year? Are you excited for the My Rise? Do you want to watch somebody play through the My Rise? If you want to watch somebody play through the My Rise, I will probably be playing through the My Rise on the channel, so make sure to like and subscribe for My Rise content and for WWE 2K26 content or WWE 2K content as a whole. I do plan to be making more in the future. Thank you for watching. If you stuck around all this time, let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you all next time.